Hello people, welcome back to my channel. So hope you are enjoying the Python skill series so far. So today we'll be seeing what is DQ data structure and how it is implemented in Python. So we already saw the stack data structure and we saw the heap data structure, which are basically used for storing the elements. That is a memory model which is there internally in Python for storing the elements. But for processing the elements, we have stacks and queues, and then there are some advanced version that is called as a DQ, which is sometimes called as a deck. So DQ stands for a double-ended queue, which has faster threading, that is multi-threading. Internally it has faster performance ratio as compared to your stacks and queues. So we'll basically see how we can implement that in Python and what are the different operations that we can do with this. So first and foremost is when we saw the stack design, we implemented that list. We saw what are the limitations or the performance issues that we encountered when implementing with the list. Then we saw implementation of the stack by using LiFoQ. Then again we saw by using implementation with collections.dq. So we are discussing about that particular class or that particular library. So this collections is a container data type specially residing in Python. So there are different modules which are present inside this library, and today we'll be discussing about the collections.dq, which is the highlighted one. So as you can see the description, it is a list like container with faster appends and pops on either side, that is the both sides. So this basically has the implementation as similar to list, so you can index the element as how you do it in a list. So indexing is possible, so indexing must be then, so else how you can pop and insert the elements. Okay, so and one more thing is it has faster appends, because appending and insertion or removal or popping of the elements can be done from both the sides as opposed to from one head, which was a major limitation of stack data structure. So we just move on to DQs, and DQs are a generalization of the stacks and queues. The name is deck, and when DQ is expanded, it becomes double-ended queue. So some of the features with this DQ are they are thread safe, memory efficient. Why? Because the append and the pop of the elements from this DQ are from both the sides of the DQ with approximately big O of 1 performance. So that is the major thing whenever we want to deploy any models or whenever we do any operations. So this has time complexity in linear time and not logarithmic time or corresponding to the number of elements. Let us understand this with an example better, how this fits in our daily life, and we'll see it in a more better way. So this is the summarization of the DQ. So this depicts your DQ. So as you can see, there are people which standing in a list and they are at the bus stop, and everyone is maintaining social distances with their mask, and now they are waiting for their bus to arrive for some particular time. So now you can also see there are ticket masters at this end and at the extreme end. So now whenever you want to do a valid travel, you need to have a ticket. So some people may already buy the ticket or already pre-book the ticket by digital booking, and some may don't do it, or some may do it on the spot, so they may take the ticket at the spot. So in that case what happens is some people don't have the change, exact change, or they don't have the coins to do the transaction. So by which what happens is if you employ a structure, or if you just do the processing in this way, so people get filled in this way, and the officer who is there at this end will first serve this person, then he'll serve this person, then he'll serve this person, and so on up till how many persons are coming inside the queue. So say for example, when this officer comes to this particular guy and he don't have the exact change for buying the ticket, what happens is the people who are behind this person will get delayed, and that's why the waiting time increases. So inside the queue the waiting time increases, and by the time your bus will arrive, and it will slow down the process. So system performance is basically slowed down in this scenario. So a better way to handle this situation is just to employ another officer who is present at the end of this queue. So you can see this guy, so he's just coming into the queue and getting joined. So as and when he gets in, the officer basically can serve him. So the officers here are called as servers. So servers are serving the queue which is containing the people. So DQ has similar logic of implementation as opposed to your basic stack. So if this was not the case, and if there were only one officer and he used to serve this person, then the complexity would be increased as big O of n, as many number of people are there. But since we have this model, like we have two officers at the extreme end and at the right side and the left side, the complexity will get reduced to big O of 1. So if you remember about the stack data structure that we discussed, it looks something like this. So it just had only one opening from where you can do the insertion and from where you can do the removal or popping of the elements. So this is the major motive of DQ. This is in real life, somewhere this is followed. So the same principle we are going to implement in Python, but in a slightly different way. So instead of just putting the elements in one by one, or instead of doing the operations one by one, we'll do a smart operation here. So first, from the library, collections library, I'm importing the DQ class, and I'm instantiating an object from the DQ class, which is D. Next, what I do is I just create a dictionary of operations that I want to do in this DQ. So if you read this website, that is documentation, there are n number of different operations. I've considered only 4 of them. So the dictionary, the name of the dictionary is operations, and in that I am passing 4 different operations that I want to perform. So first operation is append, then I have append left, then pop, then I have pop left. So append and pop basically works in the same way how it is done in the stack. So it will pop the element from the right hand side, but append left and pop left will do the processing on the extreme left hand side, as the name suggests. So this is just for that basic demonstration. Then as a value to this particular key in the dictionary, I just put d dot append and d dot append left, d dot pop, d dot pop left. So if you notice here on this documentation, the method call is not in this way. So we usually write d dot append, and then we pass a value that we want to put, say 1. So as opposed to this way, we are doing the operation, or we are creating the dictionary and the entries in that dictionary in this way, that is d dot append, and this will basically serve our purpose. So we are not doing any hard coding, we are making the user interact with the DQ how he want to perform, but our operations are only limited to these 4 operations. If he performs any other operation apart from these 4, it will basically throw a key error showing that the key does not exist in the dictionary. But I suggest you can go ahead and extend this dictionary by adding any more additional operations, and then you can play around with this DQ. So that is the basic dictionary that we are going to implement, and then comes the logic. So I employ a for loop, and for I in the range of input. So here I'm basically taking a user input. Now I'm asking the user that how many operations you want to perform on that particular queue. So operations, how much it may be, like 4 or 5 or 10 or 100, the operations that he will perform, it will be from this. So this can be performed one or more times provided the DQ is not empty. So here the first user input that I'm going to take, then what I'm doing is from the input that the user provides, I'll basically do a split. Now it will be stored in a variable that is operation. So corresponding to this operations, I will have one single operation. Now that operation corresponds to any of this. So how the program will run, so the input that I'll give is append, that is the key, that is the operation that I want to perform, and the value, that is the element that I want to put, say 90. So now this when the interpreter sees, it is splitted by a white space, that's why it is a dot split. So it will be split by the white space which is present, and then it will count the length of this. So here currently the length is 2. Now this is considered as a list and which goes in OP. So then we run a if loop, that is if else. So it will check if the length of the operation is greater than 1. That means you need to pass two parameters, that is x and y, and that will be packed to OP. So I use the word packing. We know what is packing, nesting, unnesting, unpacking. We have seen that. So if this is the case, that means we are calling the append, and similarly, if it was append left, then we'll call the append left. So for appending, we need to pass the element that we want to put into this. So we come down here, that is we want two parameters, that is the name of the operation that corresponds to x and the value that we want to input onto this. So to OP we are passing these two values, and then if this is the case, then it will be calling the operations of x. So whatever operation from this that we are passing, so x will take the key value that we have, and after that separated by a white space, we pass the element that we want to put. So by default Python takes the input in a string way, so we want to do the typecasting wherever we want to do it. So that's why we do a typecasting to integer. So this was handling about the append operations. Now if this is not the case and he just only needs to pop the element from the DQ, we need not pass this parameter, that is y part. So that's why this is empty, and here onto this operations we are just calling the OP. So operations is a list, and inside that we are passing OP of 0. Now how this basically looks, so OP, as you see, that is OP takes two parameters, that is x and y. Okay, so it will be OP of x and OP of y. So x will be at position 0 and y will be at position 1. So the x value can be accessed by OP of 0 and y value can be accessed by OP of 1. Since for popping we don't require OP of 1, we are just going for OP of 0. So to this we just call the pop function or the pop left, and then it will return the list. Now the final line that you need to keep in mind, that is the print star d. So this is new that I am discussing here. So this is not a multiplication operator. Why? Because obviously this is not a multiplication. For multiplication we need two operands. This operator is a single star operator. Now this operator is used to unpack the function call, as I've commented here. So what basically happens is like when you have different operations, so you do a append operation, then you do append operation, then you append left, then you append then you again append, then you pop the elements, and finally you want to retain the list how it basically looks. So in order to print the final list after all the operations that you did so far, that you want to retain and show it to the user, so that's why we basically write print star d. So better we just run this program and see how it looks like. Okay, so we have the shell ready. So I'll just bring this screen here. So first I want to perform 4 number of operations. Now cursor is again here, it is expecting, so it has run this particular line that is corresponding to the int input, corresponds to the number of operations, and then now we'll be giving input for this particular statement, that is the operation for each operation. So first I'll append value 10, then I'll append 20. So we have done 2 operations, now 2 more operations. I'll append 30, then I'll call pop. So the DQ is left with 1020, and if I just print D, you can see the DQ containing the list. So it is basically a list which is of DQ. So if I write type of D, you can see that the class is collections.dq. So we are verified that this is DQ. So how it works? So for working, I'll just show in this way. So what we had is we have this DQ, so it is a double-ended cylinder. So you can put the elements from both the end, you can pop the elements from both the end. So first we put element 10, then we put 20, and then we put 30. Then we called just pop. So pop by default, it works the way how it is working in stack. So it will just remove this element that is at the extreme right. So if we want to remove element from the extreme left, then you have pop left, or if you want to put element from the left hand side, we have append left. We'll do that activity also. So okay, sorry, I have to run this, not the shell. Okay, so now I want to perform 6 different operations. I'll write append 50, append 60, append 70, then I'll write append left, that is 80, then append 90, and pop left. So this is my final list or final DQ. So how it basically worked. So this is my diagram. First I inserted element 50, then I have 60, then I have 70, then append left. To the left side of this I am putting 80, this is 80, and append 90, and then pop left. So pop left, whichever element is at the left hand side, that gets popped. So 80 will get popped, and we are left with 50, 60, 70, and 90. So this is the basic working. You can enhance this function or enhance this DQ operation more by adding any more additional number of operations as you see from this website. I'll just put the link in the description. Make sure that you check that out and just get a better hands-on on this because this is more important. And also if you are preparing for any interviews, this video can help you understand some of the concepts. So well, that was all regarding the DQs in Python. And if you are watching this video for the first time, or if you are a new viewer of this channel or video, make sure you like, share and subscribe, and also don't forget to comment. Thank you very much for watching this video.